Cheers. Hello, my name's Stuart Goldsmith, and you may be wondering why I'm sitting here with a pile of cash in front of me and surrounded by bottles. Don't worry, I'm not making my fortune importing duty-free booze from the continent. I'm here to talk to you about financial freedom. I like a beer as much as the next man, but have you ever stopped to consider the real cost of even modest drinking over several years? I'm not talking about the health costs, let's leave those to one side. I'm not here to moralise. I'm talking hard cash, the difference between drinking and non-drinking and what it makes your finances over the years. I'm mentioning this because for the last 20 years I've dedicated myself to helping people to achieve financial freedom. And I've done this mainly through my best-selling books such as The Midas Method and 7 Secrets of the Millionaires, and in one-to-one consultations. Here's the interesting thing. Quite often people come to me wanting to break out of wage slavery. They may have a neat little business idea which could make them wealthy, but they can't even start because they're absolutely maxed out on every credit card they own. They're up to their ears in debt and couldn't raise a few thousand to start a business if their life depended on it. They want me to show them how to get their seed corn capital. So they often look a little bit puzzled when I ask them if they drink. Most people do, of course. I then take them through the following exercise, and if you drink even modestly, I hope you'll find it interesting. Well, I'm going to make a couple of assumptions. I'm going to assume the price of a unit of alcohol is about £1.50. Sometimes you'll pay more, sometimes less, but that's about the going rate. A unit of alcohol is half a pint of medium-strength beer. A small glass of wine or a single shot of spirits contains about a unit and a half, by the way. I'm also going to assume that over the next 10 years or more, you could get, say, 5% return on your money above inflation. Now, it doesn't matter what the interest rates are at the moment, I'm talking long term. Also, if you're in any kind of debt at all, the chances are you're paying way over 5% for it. So you could use the money you save by not drinking to pay down this debt and get much more than 5% on your money. Let's look at some numbers. The average UK consumption of alcohol is 16 units a week. Well, that's about a pint of beer a day or a large glass of wine a day. Many people drink way more than this, of course, but even at these modest levels, here's how much you spend on alcohol. Over 10 years you'll spend £13,000. Over 20 years you'll spend £26,000. Over 30 years you'll spend £39,000. Well, 30 years may seem a long time, but it's only aged 18 to 48. But the impact on your finances is much worse than the amount of cash you actually spend. I want you to imagine saving the money in a savings account paying 5%. Remember, we're talking long term here, so ignore today's interest rates. If you invested this money instead of spending it on drink, then after 10 years you'd be £16,000 better off. Well, each of these bundles contains £1,000, and I've got 16 of them, so you would get to keep all of this cash. After 20 years you would be £43,000 better off. After 30 years you'd be £87,000 better off. If you're interested, after 40 years you'd be nearly £160,000 better off. It's easy for us to fool ourselves about the amount we drink, and millions of people drink way in excess of 16 units a week. 28 units a week is very common. It is, after all, only 2 pints of beer a day. A lot of men wouldn't consider this to be excessive. And millions of women drink 2 large glasses of wine a day, and they don't consider that excessive. That also equates to 28 units a week. So let's have a quick look at the real cost of drinking 28 units a week. If you save the money instead of spending it on drink, then after 10 years you're £28,000 better off. After 20 years you're £75,000 better off, and after 30 years you'd be £152,000 better off if you'd saved the money instead. If you're interested, after 40 years you'd be an eye-watering £277,000 better off. Returning now to the subject of financial freedom, I define that as having enough money so you need never work again. That's what I teach people to do. That's not rich, by the way, it just buys you your freedom. Your days are yours to do with as you please. No more bosses, no more mediocre job, no more wage slavery. 30 years of saving rather than drinking nets you £152,000. That goes a long way to buying your financial freedom, depending on your outgoings, of course. I'm guessing you might get £10,000 a year from that. And even just 5 years of saving instead of drinking nets you a very tasty £12,000. Suddenly you have the seed corn capital to put yourself on the road to financial freedom rather than being tapped out. Well, I hope this has given you something to think about, and I also hope it's made you realise that financial freedom is not some impossible fantasy. I've shown over 32,000 people how to achieve it through my books, courses and seminars. I've created a piece of software which allows you to enter in the exact amount you drink, the cost of a unit of alcohol, the interest rate and so on, so you have a little play with the figures and check out the numbers for yourself. I think you'll be rather amazed. The software is absolutely free and you can download it from my website. Thanks very much for watching. Cheers.